Hi, this is Dr. Diana. I'm both a doctor and a patient, and I am pretty ill. Kind of sounds like a AA meeting, doesn't it? I'm Diana and I'm pretty ill. But after years of hiding this to some degree, researching it and getting closer to figuring it out, I decided it was time to come out of the closet, so to speak. Truly, the combination of a patient and a doctor is somewhat rare, and yet it's an important combination to have when we're dealing with conditions that are outside the mainstream of medical understanding and acceptance, if you get my drift. So what conditions are we dealing with? It could be a number of them. Personally, Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, a connective tissue disorder, is something our family deals with. And coming with that is POTS, postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome. Now, if you're not familiar with that, you will be by the time you watch some of these videos. Multiple sclerosis, which I think is involved in these, and studies are suggesting the same, it's not just me. But you would think by now that medicine would have its collective brain wrapped around multiple sclerosis, but, pun intended, no, we are still on the cusp of even understanding this condition. And heaven forbid, chronic fatigue or fibromyalgia, if you have been diagnosed with those, may I kindly suggest that perhaps those are indeed symptoms and not maybe a disease condition. We'll also talk about normal pressure hydrocephalus. A lot of these conditions have in common an interrupted flow of blood throughout the brain, coming in or out of the brain, or cerebrospinal fluid coming in and out of the brain. And they may all be related to, here's the big word, CCSVI, cerebrospinal venous insufficiency, for which I have been treated. And I'd like to talk to you about that. There's so much to share with you on that. Now, CCSVI gets everybody a little bit excited right now, so we may have to work backwards to some degree and talk about that first and then go back, but we'll jump around a little bit. Now, next week we're going to have our son treated. I was treated about a month ago. Our daughter's showing some symptoms, and we will likely have her looked at too. What is amazing about my son's vein, we're talking about the veins in the neck, mainly the internal jugulars. Not only do they look like mine, which are kind of funky, but they have bidirectional flow. The blood goes up and down, which, as you can imagine, is not necessarily good if the blood is supposed to be draining from the brain. Now, we are social media in unprecedented times right now, where we can share with doctors, researchers, and patients all around the world our ideas and how we're doing, etc. And I'd love to take advantage of that. Being a pioneer, canary in the coal mine, so to speak, doesn't scare me in the least. And I am happy to donate my body to science while still using it, shall I say, in order to help us figure out what the heck is going on and what is working. Now, the doctors and researchers who are willing to step outside of what is typical are very, very brave to do so. And I am so grateful to them for letting me experiment a little bit with my own body. Now, as I tell my kids, and I'll share with you, my friends, I'll be happy to take as many of the needles and tests for you that I can, because it's only through education and testing and, frankly, trial and error are we going to be able to figure some of these things out. Now, if I can save you some time, some of the frustration I have been through, save you some of the money that we can just throw at these conditions and hope for the best, I'd like to do that too. That's the point of me being here. So with this site, I'd like to bring in the ideas, the research, the studies, the thoughts, and even guesses of anyone and everyone involved. Basically, anyone who thinks they may have a piece of this puzzle, chime in and we will figure this out. Meanwhile, I have learned a ton about how to put little blocks together to build a more functional lifestyle. And basically, there may be ways to have a life around our illnesses, and I'd like to share those with you too. When I spoke at the National Ehlers-Danlos Convention, for example, I was so grateful to hear that indeed I was able to help people, even with some of the little things that make a big difference. So without getting all mushy, I want to tell you that I enjoy doing that, and I'd like to continue to do that with you guys. Now, sometimes I'll wear my official doctor coat and talk in great medical terms just to show off. I'm just kidding. Just to address some of the research that we're looking at. Sometimes I might wear one sleeve and be both doctor and patient, but I'll always be wife, mother of children affected, and a patient. That's always going to influence what I do. Now, we also know that being ill, being chronically ill, is not for the faint of heart. It is not an easy journey by any stretch of the imagination. And I've always found that any journey is easier if shared with others and if it includes a little bit of humor. So heads up on that one. We will always try to keep our humor in mind, make that passage a little bit easier. In fact, while we're on this, before I close, I will tell you when my son went in for his IV, as most of us know, I think we know this, that women seem to be able to tolerate pain a little bit better than most men in general. So when he took this IV and handled it so well, and he was so brave and so strong, and I told him, I'm so proud of him, he took it like a girl. Oh, yeah. Well, it didn't seem to have the exact same effect on him that I was anticipating, even though I explained to him that girls could handle pain better. So I'd like to see us kind of roll with that, see if we can make that a little bit more of a norm. Take it like a girl. But anyway, this is Dr. Diana as patient. I am pretty ill, but I will walk this journey with you. I look forward to us doing it. We will try to save the world one brain cell at a time if we have to. So until next time, gentle hugs to you all. Hang in. Bye-bye.